everyone, it's Sharonda for Pay or Wait, and today I'm going to be reviewing Insecure Season 4, Episode 5, Low Key, Moving On. And I have to say, it's pretty cool that this episode was directed by Stella McGee, who directed The Photograph, which Issa starred in earlier this year. It feels like so long ago, but it was really only like 2.5 months ago, almost 3 months ago at this point. But it just, we've been cooped up inside for so long that I felt like this black party gave me all of my life. It made me feel as though I was living this life outside, free of catching the Rona, just doing a little wobble, just having fun. I was just like, oh my goodness, I could smell the food trucks, okay? I could just feel the heat, okay? Everyone's sweating. I felt all of it. I was like, thank you for just giving me a little bit of joy to help me remember what it felt like. What it felt like to be outside. And I live in Atlanta, okay? We good for a food festival, some food trucks, people dancing outside. Jesus. Okay. But we got a lot to talk about in this episode. I'm so sorry, guys. I know I didn't do a recap for last week's episode. I apologize. I truly do. But I am back on time, getting my little recap, my thoughts on tonight's episode. So this is the Black Party episode, and we see that Issa can't sleep. She probably has nerves. She has this huge event that is happening, and finally everything that she's been talking about since the Coachella episode with Nathan, it comes into fruition. And of course, I should have known that Nathan Raggedy Behind, he was going to be in this episode. I still don't like Nathan. I still have an issue with Nathan and how he ghosted Issa previously, even though he does deal with mental illness. I just feel like he didn't handle that whole situation right to begin with. But we see that Issa ends up sending Nathan a message. And she was like, hey, what are you doing? He's like, you can't sleep. And then he's like, you want to talk? And then she calls him when we finally get our answer from the first episode of the season 4 as to who Issa was on the phone with when she said she don't F with Molly no more. It was Nathan that was on the phone. So they were having this conversation. He was letting her know like, hey, my Andrew, because they're roommates, he's at your girl's house. And so this is when she gets with commentary that they're not cool anymore. So I know a lot of people didn't get to hear our commentary for last week's episode. I thought that both Issa and Molly were wrong. I think that the reason that Molly used in regards to why she didn't want to help connect Issa to Andrew, who works for Live Nation, who has connects with a lot of different artists, I just thought it was very weak excuse. I felt like she had a real reasoning as to that you were just kind of in a rocky situation. It wasn't the right time for her to necessarily be asking him for a favor. I thought that if she went with the honesty route and not necessarily rejecting her or saying she won't do this because she's just not feeling Issa, I just didn't like how she handled that. But before we get into the huge blow up at the end of this week's episode, let's talk a little bit about what was happening prior to just the craziness that happened at the end of the episode. So we see that Issa got to talk to Condolences. So Condolences Raggedy Behind was ghosting her in last week's episode. And then she finally ends up, she just show up there. I'm just like, Condolences, what are you doing here? Okay. Cause you obviously were in mourning. You were missing. You weren't responding to a text message. You want help in getting no work done. So I'm just confused as to why you thought you could bring your Raggedy Behind up here on this is the launch date, okay? You ignored her messages for Lord knows how long, and you just gonna show up like everything is okay? And so Issa sees her, and then she was just like, hey, did I do something to you? Like, what's wrong? And she was like, well, me and Lawrence, Lawrence didn't tell you. Why would Lawrence tell her they're not together? They're not friends like that. So I'm confused as to why you feel as though Lawrence would tell her that they broke up, which is technically what Lawrence was trying to tell her in last week's episode until Issa had the emergency. But I'm just like, Condolences, like, humor me for a moment. What does it matter that you and Lawrence broke up in order for you to not return calls, texts from your business partner? Like, this is business. This has nothing to do with your personal life, with your relationships. So I don't care if Lawrence proposed to you. I don't care if Lawrence just disappeared. Like, you have a business obligation. Who cares that you and Lawrence broke up? Because I don't. I know Issa don't. Everybody trying to go to the Black Party don't. So I just was really confused that she felt that that was like a justifiable reason as to why she goes to Issa this entire time. I just wanted to just grab her and just be like, ugh. But I don't condone violence, okay? I don't. But that's what I wanted to do. So Before that, I thought it was really funny where the girl was doing the spoken word, and then she was like, hey, can you please get Badu off the stage? I was just like, you know what? I just can't deal right now, but she was absolutely hilarious. There's a lot of funny moments in this week's episode, but we see that Molly is also struggling with the fact that she doesn't want to go to the block party. She's feeling the same way. She's just not feeling Issa right now. She doesn't really want to go, but Andrew being the supportive boyfriend that he is, which we don't really know. There's another reason probably why he wants her to go. We see that he convinces her to go, and then, you know, she tries to make the best of it. And so we see this interaction between the two of them when Issa is like, oh, I'm surprised to see you. I didn't think you were going to come. And she's like, I'm your best friend. Why wouldn't I come? I was like, girl, because you haven't been acting like a best friend for a couple of episodes, okay? Probably this whole entire season, you haven't been acting like a best friend. So that's probably why she made that comment. But I do think that it was cute when Andrew's trying to tell her, like, hey, do you see this event? Like, it's a really dope event. Issa probably has just been going crazy trying to plan this event of this magnitude. And then also, too, that's probably why you guys have been off. Like, kind of just like how me and you have been off because you're working all the time. And so, you know, cut her some slack. You know, I think everything will go back to normal after this. And so we see that Molly makes this peace gesture as she brings Molly some food. And I was like, okay, Molly, look at you trying to be a supportive friend. But then work calls and then Issa has to run off because her headliner shows up. But in the midst of this, the funniest moment of the episode has to be Kelly, okay? So Kelly got a new boo thing, okay? So he was cute. I was like, hey, cutie. Okay, Kelly, you better find you a little boo thing. Get you some little boo I'm sorry, it's just the quarantine is making me think like this. But I was happy for Kelly. But we see after they're taking these pictures, and then when Derek goes off on them for laughing at them because they were laughing at his wife. I literally died laughing. But we see that Kelly starts talking in this British accent. So everybody's like, girl, what are you doing? So she told him that she's from London. She's talking in this crazy British accent. And then when Issa's brother shows up, I didn't know that Issa's brother and Kelly had beef like this. But the back and forth between them when he literally says hi to everyone else but Kelly. And then she was like, well, I say hello to your shirt, but not you. I was just like, the level of petty that it takes for this. But then when he tried to ask Kelly, like, what part of England are you from? And she tried to say like South Central London. I said, girl, I don't. She's like poppycock. South Central London. I said, girl, I don't think that's a place in real life. And then when he started asking her all these questions, trying to like break her lie in front of old dude, I was dying laughing. And then when this dude said there's the two different branches of government, it's the banking branch and the presidential branch, I said, Kelly, okay, you can get you some, but you can't date this man. You cannot date him. It was too much. When she said, he was like, I don't get your British humor. And she's like, it's complicated like your brain. I was like, right, Kelly, no, we can't. He ain't right for you now. If he just giving you some D, go ahead and get up in there. Let him get up in there, do what he needs to do, but wrap it up. But most importantly, I really think that Tiffany is dealing from post-traumatic stress disorder. And I think that she's depressed. After the birth of her child, we see that the baby ends up crying. The babysitter doesn't know what to do. So Derek says like, hey, we need to go home. But she's just like, hey, can you go home? Like, we're out. I don't want to deal with that right now. I think that Tiffany's really having issues. And Kelly kind of seems to see that something's wrong with Tiffany. And she asks her like, are you okay? But she's just like, I'm fine. It's whatever. But I hope that they explore that a little bit more. Because I find it really interesting because my mom had that after my raggedy brother, my middle brother. I love my brother, but I call everybody raggedy. He probably think I'm raggedy too. But I was just like, I really hope that they do explore that because it's nice to see other people going through things, especially something as, you know, serious as that. Because, you know, like my mom said, she dealt with it after my middle brother. And then just to see more people knowing that, like, you're not alone, that you're not the only person having these thoughts, having these issues after having a child. I think it'd be really cool if they delve a little bit deeper into it. But we see that Nathan comes to the party. And Nathan is uplifting her. He was just like, I see you, boo. We talked about this at Coachella, and look, it's a reality now. I said, okay, Nathan, you better uplift her, but I still don't want y'all getting back together. But I appreciate that you were there to support. But I was annoyed at the beginning of the episode when he was like, oh, can I get a VIP hookup? You can't get nothing. Okay, but I didn't know what he did for her. But at that moment, before I knew what he did for her, I was like, you can't get nothing. For ghosting me? You think I'm finna let you up here VIP? You're not a very important person. You're a very ghosting person, okay? BGP. Huh. Okay, so then I was really shocked to see that Lawrence wasn't in this episode, but I guess it would be a little bit messy if he went to support Issa, because then they only prove Condolence's whole theory on how he still loves Issa, he wants to be with Issa, and she would have never cheated. They would have been together to this day. So I get why Lawrence isn't in the episode, but I still think it's weird. I still was like waiting for Lawrence to show up at different parts of the episode, but I don't know. But I also think it was weird how they just let the whole Condolences thing go, but I guess we were gearing up for the main event between Miley and Issa. So I was excited at first because, you know, Issa was stressing about her headline act. Vince, he wasn't there. She thought he was in Miami. She didn't know he was going to show up, but he does show up. And then I was like, sir, what did you need to do with 25 slices of Kraft cheese? Okay, everything else I was just like, it's fine. But 25 slices of Kraft cheese, what are we doing? What, mine. And then her nose started bleeding. I was just like, girl, get it together, sis. But I was so happy to see Issa's old neighbor from the Dunes. Then he said, we got a lesbian bubble. I said, what's a bubble? Like, I was really confused, but I was just like, you know what? It warmed my heart so much to see him there in the episode. He's absolutely hilarious. Did not disappoint. But I did think it was really disrespectful how they wouldn't let Issa get her speech out on stage because this was her event. So y'all sitting up here screaming, bring Vince out. Like, no, boo-boo, give her 5 seconds to have a chat to let you know what she did, especially after, you know, she threw this nice event so old dude could throw his legs out. I was like, someone please come help this old man out. But, you know, the guy came on, everything was great. Then Issa and Molly had a moment. You know, people come together when the wobble come on, okay? As soon as wobble come on, I was like, get in there. Yeah. I was doing it in my living room because I was like, I don't know when we're ever going to be able to be out in public where the wobble comes on. And then we could all just be black together. Doesn't matter who knows who. We're going to do the wobble. And you always going to have that one person. You saw her assistant when she was doing a little turn thing that you do in the middle. I was like, thank you, my sister. Thank you. It just made me feel like I was really there. But we see after the event is over that Vince's manager goes to talks to Andrew while he's with Molly. He introduced like, hey, it's my girlfriend. He's like, hey man, thanks for hooking us up with tonight. And then she's like, hold on, wait a minute. What do you mean hooking y'all up? So essentially the reason that Nathan and Issa have been communicating this entire time is because Issa reached out to Nathan after Molly basically said that she wasn't going to help her, asked him to talk to Andrew to get her a new headliner. Ooh, baby. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I was livid for Molly. And here's where I'm at. They're both dead ass wrong, okay? Let me be clear. They're both wrong as can be, just like in last week's episode. I still think that Molly is more wrong about how she handled everything at that moment. But she leaves Andrew to go to Issa. And basically was like, yo, like, so you totally disrespected me. Like, you went behind my back to talk to my man, to have Nathan talk to my man about something that I told you that we weren't going to do. And then Issa was like, but you weren't trying to support me. Like, you making up these stupid little rules for no reason, just because you've been acting weird this whole time. You're miserable. You never want anything good for anybody else. They were just going back. And then she got in her face. And then, of course, when she did this, someone's like, is that a gun? Is that a wallet? I said, man, what? But then, of course, when you say that gun, everybody got to run. I see somebody running. I'm going to run. I'm not going to ask any questions. I see a black person running. I'm about to run my black behind too, right along with you. Maybe 15 minutes later when we start running and we head to safety, I might ask why we were running in the first place. But because of this altercation, Molly ruins the whole event because, you know, Andrew even tried to tell her like, hey, this is not the time or the place. But they get into this whole thing. She called Issa a selfish bee. And I was like, girl, choke her. Just choke her, slap her, do something. Don't talk cute just because your little man here and you know people gonna pull us apart. Do something. Run up and get done up. Okay? So I was just like, oh my goodness. I was just like, wow. But I was really confused when Andrew apologized to her at the end of the episode. Like, what did you do wrong, Andrew? Because I didn't know that Molly had even told Andrew what happened or that I didn't know that there was a conversation that Molly even told Andrew what Issa had asked her to do in the first place. So if that's the case, that they didn't have that conversation, I don't think Andrew should be apologizing at all. I was just really confused. And so I feel a certain type of way, y'all. I feel a certain type of way because at the end of the day, Molly, this is the second time this season that you have tried to ruin one of Issa's events. Like, know that there's a time and a place to have these discussions. If you don't even feel comfortable having a discussion about your friendship in the first place with her, but you decide that at her event that she's throwing on, that you know it's a lot riding on this event, that you think that that's the best time to confront her to the point where you ruin her entire event, I was just like, wow, Molly, we are really bold this episode, but this is the second time that you've been disrespectful at one of Issa's events, and she's like really brushed you to side when she should have cursed your ass out like the first or second episode. I'm just saying. So I do think that Molly is more wrong in the situation. Now, let me be clear, because everybody be like, you always bashing on Molly. We have equal bashing here, okay? So Issa, if your friend drew boundaries, she drew a line and said, hey, we are not mixing friendship and business with my man. So for you to go behind her back, to go ask Nathan, to ask Andrew, even though I know you were trying to make sure that you like kilted on your event and Molly was being wrong for why she told you no, you're still wrong. She told you no and you went behind her back anyway. That's hella disrespectful. That's very dirty. Like, that's real dirty, Issa. But Molly, this was not the time nor the place to do that. And your delivery, how you just handle all this stuff, I just felt like it was wrong. If you didn't feel comfortable having a conversation with her in the first place about the status of your friendship, where your relationship is, I don't think that you getting mad over this now, while I can understand why you would be livid, there's just a time and a place for everything. So I'll be very interested to know what you guys think in the comment section below. Are you team Molly in this? Are you team Issa in this? Or are you just team both of y'all messed up and messy in the first place? I don't know, but I'm riding with team Issa just because there's a time and place to have all types of discussion. I just felt like Molly handled this so bad. I really don't think that there's any way that they can really come back from this. Like, when y'all about to come to blows, I just don't see it in the cards for these two. But I'm very interested to know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you think they're both wrong? Is it Issa? Is it Molly? Just let me know how you guys feel. And shout out to the reporter who really had me thinking she was a real reporter trying to start her YouTube channel. Boo boo, I hope that you start your YouTube channel and you see nothing but greatness. I hope you prosper in this world. But those are my thoughts on Insecure Season 4. Low-key moving on. As always, my name is Sharana from Para Waits, and if you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit that notification bell. And I love you guys 3000. I'll see you soon.